No Ideas Original Podcast, episode 116. Let's get Robin. Troy, what's good? Hey, Nels, what's up? Yo,
Yo, what up, killer?
what's good?
I'm here, bro. I'm here, man. I'm surviving, B.
Did you enjoy that beautiful weather today?
Yeah, man. Me and the dogs, man. We was outside all day, pretty much, man. It was a break in the monotony of this is a cold winter, man, and we experienced a bit of a storm up here. A tree came down, bro. I was sitting in here. All I heard was,
On Robin?
ooh. Well, right outside the back, there's a large brush area, a bunch of trees, and you can see other trees that have come down. But this one in particular, if I look out my window, you can see the roots and the foundation of the tree uprooted. Like, it's crazy, man.
Damn, sheesh.
Yeah, this winter has been harsh up here, man. Between the snow and the ice, and it's been
Nels,
some.
Nels says she
Huh?
can't hear. She says she can't hear. You can hear me, right?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can.
Well, you responded to me. You can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you. It must be maybe it's something on your end, Nels. Yeah, well, we're supposed to get some crazy weather tomorrow too, though.
Some rain though, as long as it ain't snow, bro. I'm done. I quit. I'm done. Take it out of here.
Oh man, nah, I
How you
think
been, yo? What's up with you?
I'm good, man. I've been chilling. You know how you call it. Today was the weather was great. Like, I was reluctant at first. I'm like, oh man, yo, this is t-shirt weather. But I'm like, nah,
Don't
I
do
want
it yet, bro.
to. Yeah, I don't want to be laid up, man. When I was driving though through the streets, I seen like in the Bronx, I seen people in shorts.
Listen, man. Not for nothing. That thing is still out there. I know some people have posted that work in hospitals that the numbers are very low, but you don't want to chance it, man. I'm still wearing my mask, B. So I don't know
Yeah,
fuck what anybody else do at this point.
yeah, yeah, me too. So yo, we got a good episode tonight. Zane's not able to join us, but
Shout out to
we
Zane.
got peace. What's up, Ayatollah? We got some dope topics though
Tola, what's up, Tola?
that we're gonna get to. Yo, we're gonna talk about Mase. Mase just released his new scathing diss track aimed at
Wow.
Diddy. So we gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about Jussie Smollett, aka Juicy Smollett, as Dave Chappelle calls him. Um,
Juicy.
Kanye West, is he unhinged or is he being gaslit? Steve Harvey on Earn Your Leisure, it was dope interview. And then Wells Fargo, the whole Wells Fargo situation where Wells Fargo rejected half of his applicants for refinances. So let's get right to it. Let's talk about Mace's diss record towards P Diddy. What did you think of the record? Did you think it was a good record?
Honestly, at first, I didn't like the beat. Beat threw me off. I'm like, wow, he sound all cracky, but Murder Mace came with the heavy bars, son. He lit Puffy ass on fire. And people are confirming because a lot of them stories is true, man. Like, he's like, yo, you ain't no architect. You just a nigga who Marcus deaf. Like, he was hitting them bar after bar after bar. Now, Puffy, honestly, Puffy has been low. He getting that Ciroc money, so he ain't in the public's eye. But one thing May said in them lyrics is like, yo, son, you living in a town where your man died and it's still an unsolved murder.
Mm.
How you resting easy out there in LA doing what you're doing? I mean, there's a lot of speculation about Puffy's business practices, who he's done with, but one thing's for sure that you can tell that anybody that deals with Homeboy don't come out on top. He comes out on top. The record shows. Now, people may get their money. I think Mase might have been the only one who may have capitalized most on being a Bad Boy. But you go through the track record, he had a roster. Bad Boy was a roster, B.
Yeah.
You know, and it didn't turn out well, man, as the years went on, man. So, you
It's
know, I thought the song was dope, to be honest with you. I just didn't like the beat. I wish it was I was like, damn, Ron Browns need to get an Eat the Beat for him right now. They Harlem. Get an Eat the Beat on there, son. But You know, the beat was whack, but the lyrics, it was, in my opinion. That's my opinion. But
It's just
the lyrics was
hard
top
though.
choice, man.
It's just hard for me though to listen to Mase auto tuning, man. Like that's a struggle.
Yeah, that's another thing too. Yeah, that threw me off too. But I was more intrigued on what he had to say. And was he coming bar heavy? Was he joking? He was dead serious. He was past the Mace. He was up there doing everything this time. So
Yeah, the auto tuning. I mean, it was the lyrics was they were good lyrics, but the auto tuning was he was heavy with the auto tune. As far as like the stuff that he said, I'm like I don't really feel like he said anything that I haven't heard
nah,
say about Puff before. Like
okay,
people always got like scathing remarks and stuff to say when it comes to Puff's business practices. But you know what I thought about today in reference to this? I was like, yo, damn. And it's gonna sound bizarre. You know how difficult
sure.
it must be to be Puffy?
Oh hell yeah.
But yo,
Always somebody always taking a shot at you, and that's why his attitude, honestly, is the way it is. He can give a flying rat's behind about who has anything to say, and he shows you it.
yeah,
What's not I'm brother love. All I want is the love, and that's probably because he gets so much hate. He's trying to reverse it. You know what I
yeah,
mean? You gotta consciously tell him, yeah, I'm all about love. I can't feed into this hate business, son. I can't. I got
yo,
kids to raise.
the responsibility though, I'm like, damn, like yo, anybody who career that he was involved with that didn't flourish or get up off the ground, or anybody that's financially in a bad position, yo, even if they don't say it, the public just side eye and look at him and be like, yo, Puff robbed these dudes, or Puff raped them for their
Puff
public.
robbed these dudes. Puff is surrounded by, I hate to say it, but he got a lot of deaths on his time card, man. A lot of people are losing their lives, losing their careers, all sorts of things under this man's umbrella. You know what I
Yo,
mean? Is it the fact that he's representing Harlem and now Mount Vernon? What you doing, Puff? What's going on, son?
I followed
Mace
up. I
was
don't know if
pissed off though. Mace was totally pissed off.
did you hear like the Mase follow up interviews after that? Like Mase was saying, I think he said that everybody else was able to get their publishing back, but he wasn't able to get his publishing back. But his publishing, I would imagine, got to be worth a lot of money because he sold a
I
lot of
don't
records.
know. He's so amazed. Hey, I think he was the number one draft pick for Bad Boy. And
Right?
then of course came Big, of course,
Well, yeah,
which he
right after
also
Big, man.
which he also said in in his verse, I'm haunted by the voice of St. James. So you knew what that was. That was he's haunted by the voice of Biggie. His
Yeah.
Biggie probably in his dreams, get that nigga Puff. Puff is doing some fucking foul shit. Get at him, son.
Uh, I mean, what the other part of this that I always bug out about is like, it just doesn't it always seem like these are discussions that always happen on the back end. But here's the difference though, that I think with Mase versus other people. Like, I don't get the sense that Mase is financially hurting, and I think a lot of times these conversations kick up when people get in a financial bind. So you see the other dude, Fred from making a band, that he's on Diddy's neck too. But he's on Diddy's neck, and this is what I mean about how difficult it must be to be Puff. He's on Diddy's neck, and no time did he ever mention MTV. He just mentioned Diddy, and I'm
Mhm.
sure that Diddy, his involvement in that show was, I'm sure he had probably an executive producer. I'm sure he probably had some
You
type of
already know.
mentoring. We seen the show, he was mentoring them and things like that. But at the same time, if you probably go back and you look at that album, I'm sure MTV has something to do. It's probably like some
Absolutely.
joint venture between MTV and Bad Boy to sign him. But nobody is really concerned about how MTV was in cahoots in whatever this contract was versus,
Right.
Puff, the P Diddy. He's the man, so he the one that got to be responsible for it. Frankly, and this is not, no, this is no disrespect to Freddie P or whatever, but what does Puffy owe anybody for making a band? What? What does he owe them? Like, yo, it's not like they sold no whole bunch of records. And honestly, he's
He
they're
gave it
they're famous because he gave them a look. And their
he gave him a
biggest
shot.
yeah, hey, what's up, Janelle? And their biggest thing is what they famous for. These the dudes who walk to Brooklyn for
Get
cheesecake.
the cheesecake, son. That's their tagline for the rest of their life. Well, you that cheesecake nigga. You 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 the dudes that went across Brooklyn Bridge, huh?
Yo, so I
Listen,
mean,
man.
yo, I wouldn't want to be him. I get where Mace is coming from, and I think that Mace is using the public and the public eye to kind of turn an eye or
Yeah,
attention around this. But the thing is, like, is this anything new though that the public wasn't aware of in terms of Puffy's business practices?
It's nothing new. It's nothing new at all. Puffer's has always been a person to cover his behind first. And wherever the chips fall for his entourage is where they fall. And you've heard stories, even Big before he passed, said things like, I got to get off this bad boy and start my junior mafia because the money ain't right. It always breaks down to how money is being split. When you give up your publishing as an artist, to my knowledge, you pretty much give up your damn life because you're
Yeah.
getting none of that back. You know what I'm saying?
Nell said MTV ain't get no bread off the show. They also didn't pay them when they performed. So MTV didn't make any money off the band whatsoever. Cause I couldn't see why MTV. That's just poor business on MTV's part to even partner with Puffy to attempt to make. I'm sure they made money off of advertising because the show was
Right.
rated. And
Right.
whoever at MTV got to be smart enough to say, I know Puffy. That's just poor business makers. I would be like, I know Puffy's a hit maker, and whoever he put his name on at this point, they're gonna sell a couple of albums. The fact of the matter is, like, you have them on a show like that, you don't even need no huge marketing campaign because they was on national TV every week making a fool
Every week,
of
son.
themselves.
It was a whole show for them
That's
every week, son.
Lou Pearlman was behind that. Yeah, so I mean, Puffy's
Hey,
business.
look at Nels coming with the facts, huh? I see you,
Yeah,
Nels.
Puffy's business practices have always been questionable and
Shady.
always had issues. Perlman made all the bread. You think it was a lot of bread that he made off of them? Did they sell? I would Nels, if you are, we got you on research. How many records did the band sell?
One, two, three. Forget about it.
Now, if I had to guess before you give the number, Nels, if I had to guess, I'm gonna go between
Under
300,000,
50,000.
300,000,
300,000?
300,000 to 500,000 because they was on national TV. They were on national TV every week. And it was more than one season, wasn't it? Because the first season was them developing them. The second season, they was wrestling and fighting, whatever.
Yeah.
So
Well,
now,
500,000, that's a
it's
goal. That's a goal record. Yeah, that's
yeah.
a goal album. So
But
I don't know if they made that though.
Nels, if you Google the band, and I think their album was called Too Hot for TV or something like that. If you could Google and see how many albums they sold, I bet you they probably sold anywhere from like 300 to 500,000 copies with that. But again, I
I,
go
I, I
back.
bet it's lower than that.
If again, I go back to what is it that Puffy owed? I can see Mase is justifiable, but what does Puffy owe Freddie P or anybody from the band? Nothing.
Nothing. But them guys was young. They were young. They were very impressionate. Puffy is an icon, so to speak. And when you're working with someone who, from a notoriety perspective, is all over the world, he works with the best people. He got all these different connections. You fall for anything. And they did. They walked to Brooklyn for Junior for cheesecake. But along with that, anybody will tell you, I need you to do this, or you need to do, it's a how did Harvey say? He said, man, the music and entertainment are just two heads on the same body, pretty much. Two wings of the same bird.
Mm-hmm.
It's just scam after scam after scam, man. You got to watch who you trust. You got to watch the words out of people's mouths because they'll sell you the moon in a jar and tell you, yo, listen, man, you become the best thing on this world. Just give me your time and give me your rights and give me your publishing and give me your life.
Yo,
And then
you
and you
see,
be angry like he is right now.
you see the sales. You see what the missus, your missus said the sales was
The
500,000.
album went gold. Look at that. She
You
probably listened
figure
to it.
you figured a year that was what early 2000s probably.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir. Somewhere
early
around there.
early. Puffy, well, he wasn't scorching hot, but Puffy was still hot. Puffy could have fought it and got a gold record probably at that point. With that kind of promotion, I knew it. I could. Now here's the other part. Do you know a song? I don't know one song from that album.
Trust me, Nels do. She know a song of Garth Brooks right now, bro.
Yeah, I mean, but yo, come on, we got Garth Brooks versus the band. That's not 2003. That's not a fair comparison. Garth Brooks is a legend.
I'm just saying, like,
Yo,
we know
so
we
you know what this did do also though? As a result of this, which always happens, like if you run in your mouth, you got to make sure that the skeletons in your closet is clean. So people
it's
went
clean
back.
too.
They looked at Mase business practices. A lot of people don't know that Mase had Fabio Foreign signed. So
Oh, wow,
yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so they brought that up, and supposedly people were saying that Mase had Fabio's publishing, which before Mase did have Fabio's publishing. Mase did a whole breakdown on the deal, and if what he says is correct, then Mase is a good dude because he said that he signed them. He signed him, and he signed two other dudes, and he gave them $20,000. He gave the, he gave them
Just say, Rob, that's
20,000.
not a good comparison.
Yo,
I'm saying, we know, we read from the urban area. We're not listening
you know
to
Garth Brooks is. He gave 20,000 to Fabio Foreign and his group, but they never got the money because the manager stole the money. So I think that they was mad that Mase didn't in turn around and give them another 20 grand. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Mase had them on papers. Mase walked them in, got him a deal, and then Mase said that as a result of him getting the deal, he told him like, "Yo, I'm only gonna keep my name on the paperwork as leverage to get you the deal." And that Fabio had an offer on the table that increased 5 times over when they found out that he was affiliated with Mase. So of course Mase said he made some kind of money like a finder's fee or whatever. But then he said he never had Fabio on no 360 deal. He never he said he had part of Fabio publishing, but he gave him back
Mhm.
publishing 100%. And I think that that's his beef with Puffy, that if he sees how easy it is for somebody to be like, yo, here's your publishing, you can have it back. Why
Where's mine?
why Puffy won't do that to him? But now we had this conversation before many a times. Remember I was saying you like I don't know what Mace catalog is worth. I don't know what it's worth. And I think the other part that people always fall back on is like, yo, where was your attorney? Why did you sign this paperwork? It's it's a trap. I think people will get to the point, in life where they like, yo, this is the deal, this is the nature of what it is. I'm a
Yeah.
spread, and then later on when they find out how much money is being made in perpetuity, I think they get upset about it.
Yeah, man, you got to do your own homework, man. You got to be self-sufficient. You can't trust everybody with the finances or the comings and goings of your business. You need to learn it as you go and, find reputable people and honest people that you can work with so you don't get 20,000 stolen or you don't sign somewhere where at the very fine part it says, well, you just signed your publishing away. You're not
Mhm.
getting that back. Um, it's just a matter of living and learning, man. And I'm sure it is taught Mace a lesson just as well as Freddie a lesson. Anybody that's dealt with Puff, they've gotten bigger. Look at the Locks, for that matter.
Mhm.
They was in a fight for publisher too, but look when they did when they went their route. And Styles P, he's always talking about how it's great to be independent. And Jada and Sheik kind of juggle both, but working for yourself and being self-sufficient and doing your own footwork is the best way to go. I mean, you can use them as leverage, like Mace did with the young guy. That's a good look. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? If he's allowing me to use his name and his notoriety to get recognized, that's a good look. And out of that good look, if it were me, I would break Mace off. Thank you, bro.
Oh
Thank
man,
you for allowing me to use that.
I'm sure Mace got made some bread off of it. I'm
Off of
sure
that, yeah.
he made bread off of it. But the other thing is, I wonder if they have in these contracts something that actually says with the time frame around in which a person can have this clause in it. Like maybe it should be after 10 years, you no longer retain the rights. The person's publishing is fully restored to
Right, you
them.
gotta give it back. You gotta
Yeah,
give it back. So it can't be yours.
yeah, something so that way people don't have it forever.
I
Yo,
agree with that.
in other news, yo, you been keeping up with Jussie Smollett?
Juicy? Oh my God, this guy, man. He stages a hate crime.
No, no, no. Hold on. He keeps saying he innocent. He keeps saying he innocent. So,
Innocent, but
yo,
how you innocent and you lie?
for the people that's actually viewing, how many people think he's innocent? If you think he innocent, put a thumbs up. If you think he guilty, put a thumbs down. How many people actually think that he's innocent? Yeah, Rob, you said he stages a hate crime.
He stages a hate crime. For what? What were you thinking of gaining out of doing that? Now,
Clout.
according to the story, here it is. He gets a letter that's a gay bashing letter. So he goes, to my knowledge, he goes to Lee Daniels, who's of the LBGQ community. I guess he looks at him and says, yo, I got this letter. I'm concerned about my safety. Lee says to him, well, it's just a letter. So he doesn't put too much emphasis on it for him to increase his security, because I think that's what Jussie was looking for. So, time goes on. He goes out to Chicago to do some promotion or whatever. And then this situation happens. But in this situation, he allegedly talks about how he had a noose around his neck and he got beat up and all that. But then come to find out the people that did it is two brothers. One of them had a physical relationship with this dude. So now, hold on, son. So hold on. You making this up, the MAGA hat and all this, because you didn't get the proper representation when you said you got a gay bashing letter, and you felt as though people should have just jumped to the rescue and say, look, let me get you your security. Let me get this for you. Let me just lay it out for you. And someone said, nah, just give it some time. You go out and make a fiasco of yourself. Now, mind you, Chicago is a city riddled with murder, riddled with crime, and part of his restitution is paying the cops for overtime for fucking investigating a false story. So, listen, I see a lot of people going back and forth about the time that he got, 150 days, which is actually 5 months. And I don't know what it is as far as time served or the time you get for lying. But I know the word perjury is in there. So there is a sentencing for that. And then at the magnitude of what brought these individuals in, and then the two individuals that were mentioned in this, they took the stand against him. I knew this guy. This guy was paying me. All these. Come on, how you innocent, homie? Just tell me, how you innocent, yo?
Yo, here's my thing with it. I think when he did this, to me, the world was in a place where it was so divisive as a result of Donald
It was
Trump.
timing. Yes,
And
sir.
I feel like that he kind of
That's a
fanned
fact.
the flames and played with something that was extremely dangerous. If he, he still maintains his innocence. People say no, thumbs down. They think I think he lying also. My issue with in terms of like the time stuff, like I think that 5 months is a long time. And I'll tell you the reason why I think 5 months is a long time. I think
Please
5
tell
months
me.
is a long time because I feel like that his crime to a degree was victimless, right? He lied.
And no one was hurt. No one was hurt.
Yeah, he lied. And then you're right. I think that there is precedence for perjury. He lied. If it was a situation where, it was how you call it, a person lying and it resulted in another person potentially getting convicted, to me, then I could see, okay, yo, this dude, you need 5 months or whatever. What I think is would have been more practical is for him to have to pay restitution and for him to have to pay a hefty fine, and maybe some kind of probation or something like that. I think, but at the end of the day, what makes it worse to me is the fact that this dude is still maintaining his innocence. It's like, yo, you already been caught in a
That's
murder.
mental health, yo. That's all mental health.
How far though? But how far are you going to go with this in terms of trying to make people believe that this really happened? Nobody believes. Only person that probably believes it is him,
His
Taraji
family.
P. Henson, and I don't even know if his family believe it. I don't. It just like, yo, it's so outlandish.
And
Nelson,
what was up with the? What was
Nelson
up? I mean to cut you off.
not victimless at all. So Nels, put in the chat who the victim was. Like I think that again, like I don't see as a result of him lying who it directly impacted, other than forcing police officers that probably want to go home to their family to stay investigating this false accusation against these people. Like if those two brothers were actually prosecuted as a result of this, then I'd be like,
Right.
like how many cases weren't more investigated because the cops was looking? So that's what I was just saying.
But you use the system to perpetuate a personal feeling of yours about security. That's the thing, because now you perpetuated this story that you was going out to Subway 2 in the morning in Chicago to get a sandwich. Now that could be absolutely true. In New York, everything is open at 2 in the morning. You can go get a haircut at 2 in the morning. I don't know. I can't speak for Chicago, but Chicago is a metropolis, kind of like New York. So if there is something open, so be it. The
Drugs and
noose.
sex at that time in the morning.
Thank
Jay.
you. Drugs and sex. That's it. The noose around your neck, the MAGA hats, all the slurs. They were white.
Yo, he couldn't even get
Did
together whether it was a person that was anti-LGBT or a person that was racist. He just wanted to cover the whole gambit. Like it's somebody who's just prejudiced all around.
and then when you see a story not for going through with it, and they start to sentence you, you start to scream out, "I am not suicidal." That was the easiest way to be put in protective custody, mind you.
Mm-hmm.
Is
So
to is to chant out what happened. What
so
Nell
no, I
say?
was saying- so Nels said how many cases weren't investigated because cops was looking into his fake story. That's a good point, and that's why I said like the restitution and stuff like that. But remember, when you start talking about the law, you got
And
to
in
be
Chicago, man, how many people are down in Chicago? They could have
but
been out there looking for a killer.
but you got to talk about concrete what people could actually prove. So if I was his attorney, I would be like, well, those are hypotheticals. We can't say that this person would have been placed on this case or this, that, or whatever it is.
That's true.
To me, the most they could get him on is resources. Like you wasted police resources. And when we go back to precedents, you have to think he ain't the first person in the world that filed a fake police report. He's just high
That's a fact.
profile doing it or
That's a
whatever.
fact.
People file fake
Niggas
police
lie every
reports
day, B.
every day to stand people up. So like to that, speaking to that point, like yeah, I think that he definitely wasted the resources. I think the other thing that's problematic about this is that like people are like, oh, because now he's released, he's appealing, they let him out. He went through this
Yo,
whole
they
thing
released.
about
He got
all that. But my thing is that some people they said that because he said that he got a letter or they got information that he was going to be anally assaulted or something like that in jail. I honestly, what I feel is that he got celebrity privilege. That he got
yeah.
celebrity privilege because if it
Had him
was
in
somebody
protective
else,
custody. Mind you, in protective custody, he had armed guards and surveillance watching him. Who the hell is he? Armed guard? You need armed security?
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I just think that he celebrity privilege got him out because if it was anybody else that
And
went,
he went to the psych ward too.
yeah, and they weren't a celebrity, do you think that they would have actually, went for, okay, we appeal, we gonna let you out, this, that. It wouldn't have happened this fast. But the other part of it I also think is like to kind of flip it around. If he didn't have some form of celebrity, would they actually have went this hard on him for the how you call it, to say like, all right, you gonna get these 5 months or whatever. We'll never know. You see Little
Right.
Kim got about a year and a day for perjury, right?
That's right.
So you never know. And Little Kim then did her celebrity didn't get her
But someone was
up out of
hurt. Someone was hurt in that case. Someone got shot. Is
yeah,
that right? So that's
yep.
probably why it was more lengthy because there was some actual physical damage in that case.
You think
But
Jussie Smollett will
still,
work again?
that's gonna be a tough one, man. I mean, that one lie is going. It probably ruined every connection he had. And if it ain't for Taraji, who's supporting him, I don't know, man. I can't really call that. In my mind's eye, I would say no. I don't
For the,
think anybody will work with him.
for the people in the chat, do you think Jussie Smollett will ever work again? Do you think that he'll how you call America loves a good comeback
Probably
story?
as a ghostwriter. Pardon me for a second.
Yo, America loves a good comeback story, so who knows? Maybe he will. Maybe he will work again. My thing with Jussie Smollett though is I think that at some point he just gotta concede and just be honest. At some point he has to come out and be like, look, I made this up. And I honestly believe that he did it as clout. I think
I'm saying
that
too.
he did it for clout to get a look and thinking that he gonna get it. He knew that there was tension and that the times were heightened, and he could say that this was an attack on his sexuality and an attack on his race. And as volatile as the country was around that time, for him to kind of stoke that fear in people and put that out there like that to me is that nah, I'm not feeling that. So do I think
Right.
that his like with them saying he gonna get those 150 days? I wasn't stressing. I was like, he shouldn't have
All
never
right, 5 months. I said 5 months. Yeah, whatever. He'll be all right.
Yeah,
Ain't like he's doing any major time or anything like that. They probably won't even send him to the mountains in 5 months. He'd be staying right there in some pen in Chicago City, just doing his 5 months. And he also got 30 months probation. I think he paid a total 150 in restitutions, all because the cops worked overtime on the case.
How you call it? Nels, Chris Brown also, I remember seeing him on one of those, I don't know if it was BT Awards or something, one of those shows, actually offering, apology, crying and stuff like that. Like, you could tell that he was genuinely upset for what he did. This dude is in court talking about, yo, I'm still innocent. I'm like, yo, man,
And I'm not suicidal.
yeah, like you sound crazy. I got a prediction though. Somebody gonna give him a role in something. He'll be doing something. Maybe not at this magnitude, but he'll get a
Well,
role in something.
but from the wife, his music career was pretty decent. He could be a ghostwriter.
Yo, Nelson is wild. He was doing that time in county jail. Yo, they had him in the equivalent of the island in Chicago. Yo, that county jail, yeah, you ain't lying. Yo, they try to finish him off. You said yo, he was in the psych ward. We got somebody.
Yo, son, how you go from protective custody, being surveilled by armed guards, to the psych ward?
That's a
They,
strategy, though. That's a
they,
strategy.
that's all strategy. That's what I mean. Him sitting there knowing he's about to go to jail, and he just, I'm not suicidal. Who said you was? I don't think anybody in that courtroom said you look like you're about to kill yourself. But that was the ploy. That was the ploy because in his case, if I go to jail, something's going to happen to me. I'm this notable figure that when I go in there, they're going to try to manipulate. He doesn't, trust me, he doesn't, I don't think none of us know, but I'm sure he doesn't know
Dude is a
what prison lifestyle.
he's a narcissist.
Yeah, son. So he's
Yo,
like that dude in the Boondocks who was afraid to go to jail. Who was the little girl, Pops? They're gonna anal rape me.
yo, moving from one narcissist to another one.
Oh, Jesus.
Yo, the news
This
cycle
narcissistic lifestyle out here, yo.
is spinning right now with Kanye West. Yo, is Kanye West becoming unhinged and unglued, or is Kanye West being gaslit? You got Pete Davidson sending out messages on Twitter. I'm in bed with your wife. DL Hughley now coming for him in the comments. Everybody has all this commentary to say about him. Yo, I'm
Let me
looking at.
ask you this,
Mm-hmm,
and I mean to cut you off. Let me ask you this. You're a Gemini.
mm-hmm.
Is this typical Gemini behavior?
I never been hospitalized. I've never spiraled. yo, I've never
What?
spiraled out of control like this.
All right. Say you had something in your life that has been so traumatic where I don't want to use the word traumatic, but just something where you're just like, damn, what do I do? What's happening in my life right now? Because I'm
Mhm.
seeing the two-sided Gemini in this guy. Because one minute he can give you this musical genius and he's eclectic. He got crazy ideas. Some of the stuff he's done is like, wow, look, he really put that together. But then you flip it and it's like, what the hell are you
Yo,
doing?
that's not astrology. That's bipolar. That's mental illness.
Just two individuals, huh?
Yo,
That's bipolar.
what
Yeah,
you
it's all together.
what you seeing though is mania. That's what you're seeing. You're seeing him become manic. Like one minute he seems calm, cool, collected, and put together, and then the next minute he seems very eccentric. Like that's why his music
Yeah.
and all that stuff probably really takes off because that mania, when you become passionate about stuff, like he becomes so passionate about things. Like this is not two different people. This is him being genuinely mentally ill. But
Right.
the thing I say about Kanye though is that I feel like people use his mental illness to sort of diminish whatever his experience is. And for as
Mhm.
much stuff that Kanye West got going on, like as a parent, he has legitimate reason for concern. Like if he's a partial custodial parent and he's being denied access to his children,
Children.
or
Yeah,
he feels as if that he wants to spend time with his children, and he
that's right.
feels there's this whole big filter of people, menage of people that he has to get through in order to
Hmm.
get in contact with his ex-wife to have his children, then
Hmm.
of course, that there's gonna be some level of him having a meltdown like now where it becomes kind of crazy with Kanye is that all this stuff is on public display. So for me,
Right.
I'm thinking either Kanye is having these discussions in public because he can't get through to her and have these conversations with her behind the scene, or he's doing it in public because he's looking for an ally around this stuff. You know,
And
like
Nels made a good point. That's the only family he has, pretty
yeah. So
much.
I look at his passion for wanting to spend time and have his children and everything is perfectly
Right.
fine. I would
Right.
need to know more about if he's actually made effort behind the scene to have these conversations, and as a result him not getting anything anywhere with her, that he decided to bring this to the public eye. But if he's going to the public eye and having these conversations and these outbursts without actually having a conversation with Kim Kardashian, then to me it becomes problematic. And I think the other thing around it also is that Kim Kardashian is in a position where she has hundreds of millions of fans and followers, like her or not. So I think that she has public support. Imagine if this was a regular woman who couldn't garner that amount of support, and he was taken to social media to go off on
About
her
it. Oh,
and
they be beating her up. They be beating her up on social media. What you mean Kanye can't see his kids? Who the
and you
hell are you?
yeah, and using his following to my advice to him would be kind of like, yo, like maybe you need to figure out some sort of formal mediation instead of using your
Social
platform
media. Right.
as mediation. Like that's why I think that that Kanye
Right.
loses me. Like, all of it doesn't need to be in the public eye. Whatever
Right.
Kim's doing, and
That's
if she's
Kim's
doing it
business.
intentionally, she's doing it strategically, and to a degree with her doing it strategically, maybe it is causing him, knowing that he's somebody who can be easily rattled. But to me, his approach is off. And as a result of it, he got a lot of opportunities that is gonna end up getting jeopardized as a result of this. Like
Oh
people
yeah.
are already saying, like, oh, he don't need Gap need to take the campaign. Balenciaga need to take his campaign. He don't need this. He don't need that. You're right. We don't know if Kim will be in agreement to mediation. We don't know. But I tell you one. I mean, we don't know if he's already tried it. But I tell you one thing: it's not going to get mediated through social media. So I
No.
don't know what he's looking for from social media, other than to create a narrative where he's not a bad father. But I need to know this. I look at enough social
But you
media.
don't need the public opinion to
But,
prove
well,
that you're a good or bad father.
well, Rob, I was gonna say this. I'm not on social media all day, but I look at it enough to say I've never heard anybody ever mention Kanye being a horrible father. Have you?
Talk about that. Nope.
Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out, like, what does he hope to get across by taking a social media with this? Like, what is he looking for? What's his motive?
He's I think he's just trying to put out the narrative, for one, that he is a good father, and for some way, somehow, to cast some shade on Kim and what Kim has done, what's doing to him, so to speak. There's always, I hate to say it, but there's always a bicker between parents when the child is involved with child support, and when you get to see him rights. There's always a situation like that. And I think that should, one, I don't think it should ever be handled in court, but if it has to go there, so be it. Because if you're two consenting adults about a child and the well being of the child, you should have at least the morals and integrity enough to do the right thing regardless of what.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't do that, and in this case, in his position, he feels that, you know what? You're not going to just make me look like a fool. I'm going to make you look like a fool too. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go out there and talk about your boyfriend. I'm gonna talk about everybody else. Since you talk about me, tit for tat. Now that I know, taking no shots at you, bro, because you're one of the Geminis that I know they won't do that like that. But I know Geminis that will go tit for tat.
Mm.
You talk about me, watch me just read you your rights after that.
Yo, what's
That's
what
just in the nature.
what is though? Like, what's Kanye's narrative as a father? His narrative. I mean, people are always gonna say, like, he got mental illness. Like I said, they say that to diminish him. But
Right.
I don't know. I think that Kanye has
His
achieved.
kids love. I'm sure his kids love him.
Yo, but Kanye to me has achieved a level of freedom where he can speak unfiltered. And
True.
sometimes when you have that level of freedom where you can speak unfiltered to people who are not in that position, the message seems awkward and bizarre, right? Because we may not have the liberty that Kanye West has around this stuff to receive these messages. So we for lack of a better word, we kind of in the matrix or in the system around this stuff. We like,
Fact.
yo, this is very, very much different than anything that we've ever said. And I think that the stuff he says is unfiltered, it's
But he's
unpolished.
always like, I think who's that says Bar Crib J or whatever? I don't know your name. I'm sorry if I chopped it up. He said he's always been unfiltered. Kanye has always been the asshole, so to speak, as he called him and Dame were assholes because they would do shit just to fuck with people or just to be noticed. They
Now,
would do things out of the ordinary.
one thing I will say though that to me is like I've seen a shift in, like, initially when he started this stuff, I was looking at it like, oh, this is a dude that's really fighting for his family. And it for a little while, it seemed that way, that he was fighting for his family, but somehow kind of shifted to, all right, now this is kind of giving like stalker vibes or whatever. Like, yo, you burying her new dude in your video and all this stuff or
Oh my
whatever. Like,
gosh, son.
I didn't see anything wrong with him fighting for his family. I thought that was cool. But after a while, it's like, yo, you gotta, come on, like, I respect that he signed the divorce papers. You know, he just, I feel like all the time. And when we spoke to Ron Fest about this, I got a sense from Ron Fest that Kanye do have people around him that, that keep it 100 with him. But
Hmm.
to me, it's just like, I think that when you get to that level and you're unfiltered, you're unbothered, and you can say whatever it is and you feel like there's no ramifications for it, it's really hard to kind of have somebody that's going to be there and pull you on the coattail and be like, nah, yo,
This
I know,
ain't it.
don't
Right,
send that tweet, bro, or don't put
right.
at Instagram out or whatever. Like, yo, yeah, well, I'm gonna sit with you. You could tell me all your frustration and all this and all that. Cause, yo, think about it. We said Kanye never cared what the world think anyway to begin with. So why the hell he need to be on Instagram trying to help people believe that, how you call it, that he's a good father? I've never heard anybody say Kanye was a bad father.
And you probably won't because it's not about him as a father. It's more about him and the antics he pulls in the public eye. That's what it's about. It's about, and it could be mental health or whatever it is. Apparently, he has a lot that he deals with as a person. I think that alone and knowing how to juggle it and manage that has never really wrapped too tight with Kanye. He's like, man, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll just go with the flow of it for right now, or I'll just create a hysteria so I can forget about it. You know what I mean? But Ye is gonna be Ye. He ain't gonna change for nobody but himself.
he said,
And
he said it's mental, fan.
his mental fan. Oh, like, don't try to clean it up. That's pretty much what it is. But
Nah, it's not.
God bless him.
I don't think it's all mental. I don't think it's all mental health. I think some of
It's
it's
a combination of both. It's
passionate, man. You
yeah,
feel,
and
how does
he's putting his feelings out there, which in some cases, you don't put everything out in the public. That's really it.
how old is his oldest though? How old is his oldest?
Wes got to be at least maybe 6 or 7, maybe. I don't even really know, to be honest with you.
North, right? North
Yeah,
got to be at
well,
least like 10 or
10
not
has been.
8 to 10. She got to be up there because she's the oldest. How you call it? So if you got an 8-year old, you've been with this person for all these years. You got 4 children with them. And he got to deal with separation. Like, and I can see how a person would
That
unravel.
shows you.
I don't want to see him unravel though in the public eye though.
That shows you not only children have separation anxiety, so do parents. He said North is Nell said North is 10.
Yo,
So yeah, so she's 10. She knows who her dad is. The kids know who their dad is. So what is Kim telling them about their dad? Or is she allowing them to watch TV for them to figure it out? Daddy has issues right now. Daddy's going through something. Daddy will see you tomorrow. Like, you know what I mean? I don't
yeah,
know, man. It's crazy.
Hendo 25, 27. It doesn't take rocket science to see it. I love him to death, but you can see it. Oh man. Nah, I think what you see is somebody that, how you call it, is probably going through the process of losing a family,
Yeah.
in the public eye. Like I think what he's experiencing, she's 8. What he's experiencing is I think what probably a lot of people, including women, experience after you lose a relationship of 10 years and for your children. Like, I don't know if other people
It's
as
a tough thing to deal with,
sinful.
man.
Yeah.
Definitely a tough thing to deal with because you got to wrap your mind around. These are my children, man. I helped bring them here. I was taking care of them, and all of the nuances that as it is to be a parent. That doesn't change. That doesn't
You know,
change overnight. It never changes.
you know what my favorite interview to watch of Kanye is, and circulates on Instagram. You ever see
What's
the
that?
clip where he be like, "Yo, they got mad at me for saying for making that song. I am a god." You never seen that? He be like,
No,
"They
I
asked
never seen that.
me, I said, I am a god. What's wrong with that?" He was like, "Would it be better if I said I was a drug dealer? I am a god." Yeah, yeah. So I
God
hope
bless
that
them.
the brother get the support that he needs. I hope that they
Hmm.
could find some level of
I think it'll
mediation
be worked out.
in reconciliation. And I think that he needs to figure out a way to kind of get low for a minute. And the reason why I say that is like, yo, my public relations advice is always for people to disappear. Like sometimes just removing yourself out of the public eye can
Right,
clear
son. Just take
your
a
mind.
step back. Just
So
step back, clear the way, stay out the way, and let things kind of just roll over, man. Instead of trying to tackle it head on, sometimes tackling it head on, you make it work.
cause yo, before he started going downhill with this, it was just, yo, Kanye and Kim is going through a divorce. Then the narrative shifted to, Kanye spiraling because he taking shots online about Kim's new relationship with Skeet and all this stuff or whatever. It's just like, he
This
just
is
went too far with it. We all got that one friend that day. What this that we got that one friend that before we link up with other people, we say, now be nice. That's Kanye.
and don't start no shit before we get in here
Uh,
right now.
oh
Let's
man.
make it a good
Yo,
night.
switching gears, I don't know how many people watch Earn Your Leisure, but Earn Your Leisure is like one of my favorite podcasts to watch. And recently they had an interview with Steve Harvey. It was a great interview. And you know what? I'm happy to say, like, I previously I wasn't a fan of Steve Harvey. Not that I disliked him, but I just didn't really see like the
He wasn't that
value.
funny? He wasn't that funny to you?
Nah, I've never like his stand up and stuff like that. Like I it was okay, but I didn't
Mediocre.
have him. I didn't have him at the top to say like, yo, dude, yo, he's gut busting funny or whatever, or even like think like a man or any of that stuff. Like I've never been blown away by any of those things. I always thought that the dude is Steve Harvey, Steve Harvey. But the conversation that they had with him and listening to his business acumen and
Mm.
his business interests really, really impressed me. It really impressed me. And to hear about, I guess, like his story and his bounce back, this dude said that he was $22 million in debt to the IRS where his accountant didn't pay taxes for 7 years. And he talked about how he got on a conference call and they didn't know that he was on the conference call, and that somebody, like one of the people on there, said something like, yo, what we gonna do when this dude go to jail? Because they just knew that he was never gonna be able to pay those back taxes. So in that interview, he talked about like the good business decisions he made, the bad
Mm-hmm.
business decisions he made, his time
Mm-hmm.
that he had a chance to spend with Robert Smith. Like it was just, to me, it was just like a really, really good interview. You get a chance to catch it?
I caught a good portion of it. I didn't watch it in length. But what I did appreciate was his honesty. He said 100% of your track record of you surviving funky days are just that. If you've made it through the bad days, you're here to
Right.
talk about it. So have some gratitude, and that's part of his 5 principles. Dream big, use your imagination, show gratitude, overcome fear, and have faith. I think that's a brilliant mindset for any person to have when
Mm-hmm.
you're going into business or you're just dealing with life. Um, the interview was very well put together. Shout out to them Earn Your Leisure brothers, man. I love their platform. I love the things that they're talking about. They keep financial literacy in our heads as if it's a sport and we need to watch this game. And um, it was a really impactful interview. And he also talked about, the tricks of Hollywood. And that's when I mentioned, before that he said, yo, entertainment game ain't no different than the music game, man. Because, you got agents that want money. You got managers that want 10%. Before you know it, all you got is 2%. You've done all the work because you got to pay all these different people. So he was very adamant about ownership and owning your brand and taking your brand where it needs to go and being grateful, man. Just being grateful for the things that you have. That's what I liked about it most, man.
Yeah, he talked about like I guess the part where he had no ownership in the Steve Harvey show. He
Right. He
made
said, absolutely. He said, I got nothing on the back end.
a
He said,
lot of
just like a rapper.
a lot of good business tips about how the difference between royalties work as it relates to television shows versus book
Right.
deals,
Book
and
deal. Right.
how he was in positions where he took upfront money and he had to take upfront money, and he didn't have ownership in certain things, and now he's gotten to the point
He
where he
admitted.
requests ownership in
Yeah, he
deals.
admitted he was there just for the check. I was
Yeah,
just getting for the check.
yeah. And did you catch when he said that he took Family Feuds, he bought the rights to Family Feuds, I think in South Africa,
He
and
wanted to take it. Yeah.
that he's doing a Family Feud in South Africa and stuff like that. So what I
Steve
see
Harvey, he called us part of his Steve Harvey Global umbrella.
global. Yeah, what I see in him though is I see a dude whose business acumen has really, really grown, and his mindset has kind of evolved from a person who once upon a time was about, yo, let me just get the check. And mind you, this is a dude who at one point in life actually slept in a car.
He's homeless.
Oh yeah, he slept in his car. So to now,
He said
it,
when his wife divorced him, she left him
yeah,
with like $1,000.
$1,000, yeah, a thousand
Jesus
dollars in his
Christ.
account. And he said the other thing is he said that his strategy when he was that $22 million in debt to the IRS was that he said his wife was crying for days, but he said that he got up and went and took every show he could take on the
You can
weekend.
say.
Yeah, so like yo, I
That's how you
commend that about
persevere, man.
I commend that
That's
about him. I think that also like the fact that what else I appreciated his mentorship, because I don't know if you caught, but a lot of the people that now work for Earn Your Leisure at one point in time worked for him and
How
got
about that?
from him. So anytime you see dudes of his caliber actually sharing that
Right.
information willingly, like yo, that to me is a value because a lot of dudes
That
ain't
was
really
a good
about that
that, wa-
game.
that was a good OG talk. For them to sit there with a older brother and he shed some light on his life experiences, the things he done been through, and just going through it so that he's encouraging you, let you know, yo, you've been through the work. I reflected on myself. 2 kidney surgeries, a whole bunch of other things. Life happens. Yo, you just pick up and you keep going, man. You don't stop. You don't quit. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that you can wake up the next day and start it all over again, you got a chance and a choice, man. Make the best of it, B.
Did you hear the part where he talked about that no excuses? He was like that he don't
No
accept.
excuses. He told his man, he told his lawyer friend, Brandon, he
Yeah,
said, he's like, yo, I want to do Family Feud in Africa. He's like, hold up, Steve. Nah, and then he hung up the phone. Yo,
yeah,
and I'm with that. I'm with the no excuses. That means if you got a team of people around you that have no excuses, it's already done. They're just gonna find a way to do it.
it's a yeah. Where there's a will, there's a way.
There's a will, there's a way, son. And as long as you can see it back to the imagination, that's where all things are created in your thoughts. But you got to be right up here. You can't have the distractions of other things going on in the midst of trying to create or build or whatever it is that you're trying to put together with those distractions in there. You have to be mentally strong, man. Have to be, people.
Yeah. So Steve Harvey, I think he may have gained a fan from me with that interview. He good for something other than a strawberry letter now.
He's
And
stupid.
he talked about how he didn't really make. He said he made money off of the Think Like a Man movie, but he said that he didn't have much involvement with it. I guess it was all like Will Packer, right? Who
Right.
did So again, like I appreciated him sharing that information and sharing them gems.
I'm gonna finish. I'm gonna finish it up, man, because it did have. He was just laying out jewels. It was just like I said. It was just like talking to your OG on the corner, and he just sharing some shit. I've been through this, young blood. Don't do it.
Mm.
That's the most I got from it, man. It was dope.
Yeah, but that divorce cleaned them out. Divorce and taxes.
Yes, she left me with $1,000. Like, man, what did she take? Jesus, she took
yo,
everything, son.
yo, didn't he say that the lawyer was so good? He was applauding the lawyer, and he didn't have control over the movie because I guess that what they did was they must have purchased the rights from him, and he was in a position where he took the upfront money
Right.
rather than the creative control. They was asking him about EP credits. Did he have executive producer credits? I don't think he said he had executive producer credits on that
Mm-hmm.
particular movie. He said he made a nice piece of change. He said the most money he ever made was actually off the book because he
Mm-hmm.
said he gets residuals off the books. He said he's never made back in money off of anything in
Oh, for
television,
anything.
despite the
He said.
Steve
I think he
Harvey
said
syndication.
his philosophy was if a promoter booked him, his goal was to make sure the promoter got his money as well as I'm getting mine. So it's a win-win. So if you book me to come to your show, I'm gonna make sure the content of what I'm bringing to your show will sell out your venue, so that you bring me back the next time there's an opportunity to bring me back and keep that rapport going. That falls in my opinion, having no excuses. Someone gives you an opportunity, you maximize it.
What
You
did you
maximize it.
What did you think? Or if, I don't know if you caught it, but what did you think about his Mount Rushmore comedians? Did you catch that part?
Nah, but I can imagine it would have been, of course, Red Fox.
Nope. He got
Uh,
his own little. He was like, "Yo, a
he
mountain
ain't
to
got Red
himself."
Fox in there. He
Nah.
got Pryor.
He said Richard Pryor get a mountain to himself. He said Eddie Murphy gets a
Okay.
plaque, and then he had I think Chris Rock. Um, Let me see. He
Yeah,
had Chris
Bernie.
Rock. Nope. He had Chris Rock,
Wow.
Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart, no Bernie.
I forget who else he had. He had one other person, and then he said that the Kings would have to represent four. Like all of them would represent the fourth person. I forget who the third person was, but it was Chris Rock, Kevin Hart, and somebody else. I forget who the other person was.
Well, yeah,
So
maybe Chris Rock, Kevin Hart. Now, as comedian and entertainers, movies too. Those guys have had a substantial career.
I
Can't
would
even front.
I would put Chris Rock over Kevin Hart, honestly. I
Uh,
mean, I guess
Kevin,
all of that
Kevin,
stuff is
Kevin, Kevin, Kevin Hart's um his career took a real quick rise. I mean, from the old school days of him doing what he was doing, them old movies,
them old movies
Soul
was funny.
Plane and all that. Huh?
Paper Soldiers, one of my favorites.
Did you like Soul Plane too?
So I mean, it was something to watch. They don't have replay value, but yo, you ain't never gonna catch me sitting around be like, yo, put Soul Plane on.
But after those two introductions of Kevin Hart, things went straight to the top for him, and they're still climbing. And then he puts his boys on too. So their career, Rock and Hart, I mean, I think maybe he's looking at that because he also put Eddie Murphy in there,
Mm-hmm.
who is an icon when it comes to stand up comedy.
Yeah,
Um,
he put controversy. He was like that. He would put Bill Cosby too, based on Bill Cosby's accolades. He was like Bill Cosby got more comedy records than anybody all time. And then he shared a good story too, a
can't
funny
you can't
story about
erase can't
Michael
erase that.
He shared. Did you heard the story about Michael Jackson that he took Michael Jackson to church in Crenshaw?
Nah. See,
He
I'm
said,
gonna go finish that when I
yo,
leave. Stop.
he said he took
I need to
Michael
see
Jackson
that, son.
to church on Crenshaw that he told Michael Jackson, all right, we're gonna go to church. Don't tell nobody. But Michael Jackson must have somebody told the pastor, and the pastor told everybody. So when they pulled up, it was a whole bunch of people out there lined up waiting for them. He was like, Michael Jackson came out to go to church with like some joint with Captain Crunch stripes up his thing. And he was like, what the hell you got on? He said, Mike was like, this shirt cost $20,000. That was a great story. He also had a good story about Robert Smith too, where he said that Robert Smith, he said he took a jet to meet with Robert Smith and you only get 30 minutes of his time. And did you hear this? And he said when he came in, that Robert Smith told his assistant did like this and was like, no, like let him stay. He said that the assistant came back again And that Robert Smith was like, nah, I told the assistant, go away. He said he ended up spending 7 hours with Robert Smith, the black
See,
billionaire. And then when he left, he
see?
said he asked the assistant, why is it that I was able to stay for seven hours when I only planned to be here for 30 minutes? And he was like, that you the first person that has ever came in and hasn't asked, you didn't ask him for any money. You didn't ask him for anything. So I guess this dude was so used to people coming in and hitting them up for money that he capped it at you get 30 minutes of my time to ask for whatever donation or whatever it is you want or whatever. And then you got
And
to
he
roll
got 7 hours of jewels.
7 hours.
Yeah, I used to think lectures were long because I've listened to lectures, and some lectures go into 5, 6 hours. But if you have the wherewithal to listen and learn, trust me, you don't want nothing in 30 minutes.
7 hours.
You don't want nothing in 30 minutes. I hate to say it, but I'm going to say it. The longer the better when you're around someone as substantial as Robert Smith or anybody who has a wealth of knowledge to share because they're representing. You see what the man has done. So that's probably what ignited him to go Steve Harvey Global and start doing things on his own, cutting out the agents, cutting out the managers, only having a lawyer.
Brilliant. That to me, I think
That was dope.
that was it. That was brilliant. That was brilliant because he broke down in this interview. He broke down the percentage that everybody gets so
Yeah,
much. I think that when it was all said and done, after taxes and paying agents, attorneys, managers, and all that,
managers
he was probably getting like 20%. So imagine if you get $1 million and you leave with
with
200,000
200,000.
of that million
You even
dollars.
talk about the government that take 40.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
yo.
yo.
So what he basically did was he hired his own attorney, and his attorney negotiates and closes the deals for him. With that alone, look how much money, like other people, we actually cut out.
Negotiate your price, man, instead of allowing someone to give you what they think you're worth.
Mm.
Negotiate your price, man. Because that's what it is. You're not gonna get, like you said, you're not gonna get it in the back end. So you might as well get it written out. This is what I want, this is what I'm getting. If not, I'm out of here.
Yeah, that makes me think of that. The other thing that was on social media where it was they fried, I guess, some woman because it was some woman on there saying that they had a candidate that they were looking at for a position, and the candidate came in and requested $60,000 as their salary, but they had $100,000 in the budget to pay the person. So it was some people that was saying that, well, the candidate got to ask for more money and know their worth, and there was other people saying like, yo, how you gonna be in a position to give somebody 40 grand more for their worth, but you don't, you shortchange them or whatever. I don't know where I land with that as an employer, but
Mhm.
that's real talk. Like there are a lot of people who come in and undersell themselves, and
Yeah.
fiscally, you like, yo, if I can get this person to do the job for 60 grand, but I had allocated it for 80, I guess it's just a matter of the person, right?
It's the matter of the person. If you don't know your worth, somebody else will tell you your worth. So
Mm-hmm.
you have to know your capability, your skill sets, what you're great at. Take a reflection of yourself. What have you done
Mm-hmm.
in whatever field that you're in that has made a difference? You know what I mean? And I'm great at operations because I've been in corporate America almost 20 years, and the things I've saw and seen and was able to absorb in that environment and also use as a tool for myself, it has garnered me to be right where I'm at right now. So, yo, listen, man. Anytime someone got something to say and they willing to teach you and show you, don't brush them off, man. It could be wisdom can come from the wildest places. I've had wisdom come from homeless people. When they say, yo, young man, even if you say, young man, pull up your pants. It's a jewel. You know what I'm saying? That's
Yo,
a jewel, man.
let me make sure I get this. I want to make sure I get the stats right on this. So, Wells Fargo found to have rejected half its black applicants for mortgage refinancing. So, look, this is the breakdown for Wells Fargo in terms of approval for refinancing applications. White 72% approval,
That's
Asian
correct.
7% approval, Hispanic
Yeah,
3% approval, Black 47% approval. Now, this is for all other lenders. White 87% approval, Asian 85% approval, Hispanic 79% approval, Black 71% approval. So I'm guessing Wells Fargo got flagged because they're lower their 47 percentage is lower than all the other banks. But the reason why this came to, I think, the attention of people also is because this was an engineer from Microsoft who had a credit score well above 800, and his wife was a doctor. That they were, it looks like that they were going to get denied a refinancing opportunity and have to
Yeah.
pay a higher than 4.5%
Interest
um,
rate.
interest rate on a refinancing loan. So what do you, I guess, what do you attribute this to? And for those who don't know or not aware how much refinancing, how valuable refinancing could be, refinancing could lower your monthly mortgage payment. It could help you get
Save
the
money.
equity out
Mhm.
of your existing mortgage loan. Also, um, it's just so many different things that you could do as a result of refinancing, lower your interest rate. There's so many different things that you could do. So now that this has been flagged, I do know that that Wells Fargo has said that they're going to look at some of their practices. But as we talked about this earlier, this has bigger implications. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I mean, this is quote unquote redlining, something that was banned over 50 years ago. When you ostracize a certain demographic of people because of who they are. And you're right in your numbers, man. I mean, and all the other lenders, we're still at the bottom. I mean, black homeowners only make up 9% of the homeowners here in the country. So, we try to, it's good to exercise and encourage people to buy property. One of the things, about even where me and my wife live, we have land. I think people need to focus more on that. But here we are back with something that started early in the 30s. It literally shaped the demographic and the wealth pattern of the society by marginalizing certain people living in certain areas versus keeping these people out and these people in. And the ones you kept out, those areas turned into to low income areas. And they're still low income areas. You know what I'm saying? They don't get the resources other neighborhoods get. I mean, Senate passed a bill in, I think, 2018 that gave the ability to enforce lending requirements, making it easier for community banks to hide their discrimination practices. And I think Wells Fargo fell through the cracks. And somebody said, "Oh, Nick, what you doing?"
Well,
What
you
that
know, you know what,
that
you know
number,
what,
that number's not right, bro. What you doing? It need to
you
be
know
more than that.
what else flagged it though? Probably remember, like with everything that was going on, interest rates were lower than they've ever been
Lower
all
than they ever been, bro.
the
Lower
time.
than they ever been. So why can't I capitalize on that too? You know, white homeowners or Caucasian homeowners save about 3.8 billion annually in refinancing.
Mm,
We don't even scratch 200 million in refinancing
mm,
because of the redlining. Because either you're black, well, it is because you're black. It don't matter if you're a doctor, astronaut. It doesn't matter. You're black, and whatever stereotype that goes along with that in certain people's minds, they carry that, man. They carry that to the point where I have the power to marginalize you, keep you out of the way. You can't be in this neighborhood for whatever reason. Here we go again.
mm-hmm.
Some bullshit, man.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
interest rates slowly but surely are creeping up, but interest rates were at an all-time
All time low.
low. But interest rates were considerably lower for an extended period of time during the pandemic, but now they're creeping back up. And the property
The world,
value,
the world is opening up again.
property value was really high also. So, with property value being high and people going to refi, they probably was getting appraisals and seeing like, oh, okay, my home is in terms of the equity now that I have in my home,
Right.
it's hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. So imagine if you could take that equity out, and some people use equity to do home repairs. Some people use equity as a down payment to purchase an additional home. There are
Right.
different things that you could do with the
Right.
equity from your equity and reducing your
With
interest
the,
rate and lowering your monthly payment. Like that's a
right.
win. That really doesn't have anything to do a lot of times with a person's financial situation. That's just good business. Like you mean to tell me I could get a lower interest rate, lower my payment, and get the money from equity to go get another property or land or whatever it is.
That's a
So
win-win, son. So when you don't give somebody the opportunity to do that, it's like, what's up, B? Why can't I get that? And we
Yeah.
already know, man. You know, there's also, I mean, I don't know if anyone is familiar with Brother Ben X. Brother Ben X is a member of the Nation of Islam, and he has a community called Hereafter Farms. It's a community of about 100 families that have invested in about 500 acres of land.
Mm.
And I think it's a dope way to exercise ownership. You know, this buying a house is one thing, yes. And we just explained all of the benefits of doing that if you get a chance to refinance. But also land too, man. I think we need to encourage ourselves to invest in a plot of land. I don't care if it's, you know, it could be something like what Yemi has for Oko Farms. You know what I'm saying? She only got what 2,500 square feet, but
Mm-hmm.
she's able in that amount of space to create a farm that can generally take care of the general location of the public where she's in, to eat clean, eat healthy. Um, I also follow black owned farmers too, who are acquiring a lot of land, and I think that's something that we need to do. But when it comes to home ownership, yo, you just got to be in the right place at the right time, man. And I don't think Wells Fargo is the place to be, man. Go to them other lenders. Your
Uh,
chances are better with them. You know what I mean?
so can you clarify something for me? Is it a buyer's or seller's market? I can't tell you now what it is, but I know during the pandemic it was definitely a seller's market. There was low inventory. The inventory was so low where I lived that there were like realtors that would leave like flyers on my door saying somebody's interested in your home. The realtor who sold us our home years ago also contacted us and was saying like, look, I have somebody that's interested in your home, and that they would pay probably $75,000 more than what it was actually worth. So at that point in time, it was definitely a, um a seller's market, because
A buyers too
whenever inventory is low, though, whenever inventory is low, you're gonna get more for your property.
for your
Right?
property. Yeah.
know, when it's a whole bunch of property available, then I think buyers have more wiggle room, because there are other comps and ways to negotiate. Like, I'm not going to this house. I'm gonna go with the next person or whatever. And what I'm starting to notice, which was very interesting to me for my house, they were very specific about like, no, this person has had their eye on this house or wanted to live in this particular complex for this long or whatever, and this is what they're willing to do. Um, so, my position is something like that. Is like, I think if the right offer would have came along and the money was right, then that's something that I would have probably definitely considered. Is there a lot of inventory by you, Rob? Like, are there a lot of available homes?
No. After during the pandemic, yes, because people were moving up here very often, to the point right here, this main strip right here, they call it New York because
Wow.
everyone has moved from New York right up here. We just added to the New York population up here.
Mm.
Um, but people were making moves, man, during 2020 and the 21. You know what I mean? It was a sellers, and also I think it was a buyers too, because people were moving, bro.
Mm.
There was property out there to be bought, and people were jumping on them. You know what I mean? Where we would see signs, we was like, damn, somebody moving in over there too? Over there too? What's going
Was it
on?
the result of people, financial hardship, that people could no longer afford their home? You think?
Well, I think people were leaving out of New York because of the situation in New York,
Mm.
and they were just trying to escape from New York. No pun intended, but um, that's what happened, man. People started you just started seeing more New York plates come up this way more than ever. And I mean, a lot of people live in Connecticut that travel to New York to work, but
I'm I'm gonna
that's
tell you, you know what? Imagine if people, as a result of what happened with the pandemic, were in positions where their job just was like, what, we've gone fully remote forever. You could telecommute forever, kind of thing, and you still could collect whatever your salary is. So now you ain't got to pay whatever the cost of gas is. You
none
ain't
of
got
that.
to worry about that travel back and
None of
forth.
that.
Keep your city salary. Like, oh my God.
That's a win-win.
So I could see
What it was.
somebody from New York moving out of New York and being like, you know what, I'm gonna take advantage of this as an opportunity to get out of New York, relocate, keep my salary, get me a
Right,
house.
when the interest rates were low, people were scurrying, man. People were moving to Connecticut, Jersey, PA. People were leaving town. People were doing a lot during that time, man. So
Yeah,
what it was, man.
I'm gonna tell you. I mean, my brother moved to Tennessee doing this. And
What
when I
part
was
of
out,
Tennessee is he in?
he's in Chattanooga.
Say word. My family is from
Yeah,
Chattanooga,
he's in
son.
Chattanooga. And when I was out there a couple of weeks ago, we just, I just happened to be talking on walking the property and everything and looking at it.
Shout out
And
to Rams.
his taxes is $3,000.
Tennessee. What young buck call it? Tennessee.
Yo, 3,000. If
$3 grand?
you if you see the lot, like yo, I'm so proud of him. The lot that he got for 3,000 and the size of his house in taxes is $3,000 a year. So to put that in perspective, I mean,
Reeves is cool as a cucumber. When I watch the sports show, he's so stoic.
yo,
He
the how you
don't
call
move with nothing.
the taxes up by me, taxes range anywhere. The lowest it's ever been, I think, was 9. The most it's ever probably been is 12 a year.
Right.
But, how you call it, and the amount of land that he has versus the amount of actual land that I have for 3,000 in taxes and plus probably the cost of the house. It's like, yo, you can't
You
beat that, man.
can't beat that, man. You wish it was a little closer, but trust me, Tennessee, it's a beautiful state. Sure,
Yeah,
it's nice out there, bro.
yeah. So yo, this concludes our topics for tonight. Yo, any closing words, Rob? Besides
Um,
the frustration with Wells Fargo, I don't bank with Wells Fargo anyway. So
the
I,
Wells Fargo been in the news for always just discrimination, man. This ain't the first time I've heard Wells Fargo treat our people in a way that is unfair. So I have nothing to say about Wells Fargo. Nothing at all. All I have to say is don't lie to the cops. Do not ruin yourself. One thing my mother told me as a kid, because excuse me, I used to lie. I used to be a big liar, at least try to lie when I didn't want to get caught in something. My mother said, son, I'm tired of punishing you. You're not a good liar. Stop it. And I stopped it, bro. And my life got a whole lot better trying to stop lying, son. And I always thought I was trying to be slick or I could get away with something. Once I figured that out, that was it, man. Keep it truthful. Stand on your square. You know what I mean? Go through whatever hardships you got to go through. Like Steve Harvey said, man, we all been through our shitty days and bad moments, but the fact that we got through it says something about who you are and your courage and your character. I always talk about big on imagination, have some gratitude. All of the principles that Steve talked about is like, damn, man, he was reading my mind, or we are like I like minds, man. So
yeah,
that's about it, man. Just be honest with yourself and do the
yo,
right thing, if that makes any sense to you.
yeah. Yo, I have to say, like, I think I'm happy you brought that up because one of the things that I appreciated him talking about too was the gratitude part, where he was saying, I think he said something like, you get the person that they making, I don't remember the exact figures, but he was like they making $20,000 to start off with. The
And then they
next
get 50,000.
they can, yeah, and then they get pissed off and they like, yo, I'm not a millionaire. How come I'm not a millionaire? And they lose sight of, yo, you used to be making 20,000. Now you
Bruh.
making whatever, 100,000 or whatever. And he used that as an example for gratitude. And I thought that was really dope because I think gratitude is something that flies under the radar for a lot of people, and
That's a
not
fact.
the lack of appreciation of the process. I think is something that jam people up also. I think if you can learn to appreciate the process and you can always look back to where you once were, it's a value. I tell students, my students are also adults at the college. I used to tell them all the time, like students used to be like, yo, when I get my degree, if I could get a job making 50 grand or this, that, I'm like, well, I said, if you get a
They
50,
gonna start off like
yeah, I said,
that.
yo, if you get a job making 50 grand, you got a 50 grand lifestyle, then you're gonna be like, damn, if I can only make 20,000 more,
Right,
you know,
70,000, right.
damn, if I can only make 20, how you call, I'm like, you have to have some level of appreciation. And I think that you have to have ambition. You could be ambitious. If you keep moving the goalpost though, then sometimes it gets tricky. Like, allow yourself to celebrate some level of success. If you're a person who you how you call it, you aspire to make 50 grand and you make 50 grand, I'm not saying that you need to rest on your laurels and be like, yeah, I made 50 grand, I'll never need to make a dime
Right,
again,
right.
whatever. But yo, reflect and be like, damn, like, yo, once upon a time, I was happy with making
I
50
was
grand. I wanted to make 50 grand. I made 50 grand.
right,
Don't be like,
right,
damn, how come I'm not making 500,000? Because you ain't never, you're never gonna have happiness if you constantly, how you call it, move that bar.
right.
Oh, yo, we want to thank everybody for pulling up. Yes, you're absolutely correct. We do have to promote better. We had a meeting earlier today to talk about the podcast, and that was one of the things.
That was one of the
Yeah,
things, man.
yeah, we definitely got to promote better. Please feel free to share the podcast, subscribe on YouTube,
Yes,
like,
sir.
the word out. We're going to be doing more of these on Instagram Live also. We also have a SoundCloud page for people who don't watch podcasts. Before, I would never even watch a podcast. All the podcasts, my podcast interactions was listening. We have the YouTube,
Right.
we have the Instagram. So yeah, just check us out. We try to have real conversations. Occasionally we have interviews. Also, we've interviewed everybody from hip hop folks like Drez, the Special Ed, to who else we had, to Tragedies,
Yeah. We had
and
Rhyme Fest, we had Master Ace,
mhm.
we had
The bottom right hand
Trigger.
corner, there it looks like a paper plane or an arrow. All you got to do is hit that, and then I guess like your friend list or search will come up, and then you just send the link to whoever it is. Or afterwards, you can share it with people, and just tell them like, look, I watch a podcast, and I think it's dope content. You may want to check it out. I appreciate
Yeah.
that.
And check out our catalog too, man. We got some lengthy conversations with some great people you probably would have never imagined. Um, you know, and those conversations, a lot of them stick with me, man. A
Hmm.
lot of them stick with me. We got some great conversations with some great people, man. So check the catalog out, man. Go to our YouTube page. Click on 1 through 100, man. We got a lot to be talked about, man. So have
Appreciate
fun
it.
on that, man.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
Appreciate y'all.